recently. I don't know if that's changed, but us as third company leadership were again under this idea that if you were to leave your rank, you were not granted it back, whether it be retirement, discharge, or leaving the server in general. So that's another thing I wanted to add. But otherwise, we're going to go ahead and pass it on to whoever else would like to speak.
Hello there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sentinel 6 over here. Adding to a bit what the Night Sergeant said, sorry if I miss any point or don't understand everything very well, but as I remember, yes, as you say, high commands can normally talk to each other and take decisions. But as the Paladin said, the issue over here was how the high command, that was Grand Vizier Reaper, handled this situation. There was a lot of unnecessary insults, a behavior that's not really tolerated and that showed poorly the performance of a high command. And yeah, the former senior lancer Sisa was booted from the server without any kind of opinion. No one was informed of this until some investigation happened to see what was the issue. Because as most of you know, this happened pretty fast. So in general, what you say is true. This could have been handled better. I have nothing else to say for now.
Okay. Paragon, anything else before we pass it over?
No. I just saw that Mitz put his hand up, and so did the elder.
Great. Let's go ahead and put Mitz on first. Let's see, raise his hand first, and then let's see what he has to say.
Fair enough.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yep. Okay.
Yes, we can hear
Cool,
you.
yeah.
The stage is yours.
What I wanted to just add is I agree with Smoke that like you've got to earn your own respect and all that. But something I want to add is this isn't the first time Reaper has just gone out and insulted someone for not really agreeing with him. Like if you literally go up in off topic, you can see he was also arguing with other members of First Company as well as that's pretty much quite a bit of what he does is just argue. Like if you go through our chat logs, it's either arguing or just talking normally, and that's all I really want to add.
Very well. I guess I'll. Claire, is there anything else sensible before we get the elder on?
No, I don't have anything to add at the moment.
What the Nitrogen says, it's very true. In off topic, you are able to see this, which is something I wanted to also add before. It can concern a lot of members because, as I said before, we have to behave in a formal way, respecting each other. But for some reason, the Grand Vizier Reaper has spoken like this to another member in off topic, a great discussion that happened over a week, I believe, and today. I'm unsure why it happened, but what he is saying is true, and it's something that needs to be addressed eventually.
Cool. All right. I got the elder up. I see a lot of you have also put your hand up. Don't worry. I remember the order of which it happened, so just you're all gonna have to sit tight. But right now, I'll get the elder up.
All right, Elder Demon, you got the floor for a brief moment. Elder Demon, you there?
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, I just wanted to clarify. I know a lot of people have questions on what the role of the advisor is in Elder Council, and basically they're a retired member of who has a rank in the Elder Council, and basically their role is to teach and advise newer Elder Council members how to deal with various situations with their experience. They don't generally hold a requirement for patrols or necessary to play Fallout anymore because they're a retired member and they're given that role as a sense of respect, right, for their experience in Steel Defiance. However, it is my belief in Force Company that someone who does leave the server, and I have enforced it, that does leave the server and return, has a reduced rank due to that leaving of the server and coming back. I think they should earn that position again. However, I can only enforce that up into my rank of Elder. And it wasn't my sense to bring Devil back into the server. I suggested he return in some capacity, not as an advisor, but that was a decision made completely without regard to other members of the council. Again, I believe that was a decision made by Reaper. There was no vote done on it, just so everyone's aware. But yes, I do stand by the belief that if you leave and come back, especially multiple times, should be a reduced rank. I will be bringing up to the Elders Council the fact that there have been insults made to my officers in First Company, which are unnecessary, despite the fact that Reaper is a server owner. Abuse is not acceptable like that. We're all adults. We should all be held to that accountability. So far, that's all I have to say up to this point. And thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Elder Demon. We appreciate you going on the stage and speaking out your opinions. And I think for most of Third Leadership, we do agree and kind of share the same perspectives that your company has. That if you do leave the server, that there are certain privileges that you do have to earn back. So I can understand where Caesar's coming from in stating that someone who is coming back into a specific role, regardless of what that role may be, to just go ahead and have it. Now, again, I'm not really informative of the role as much as Elder Demon, but at least it's great to hear that we also have some common terms within companies.
I do believe that it is Rue next, unless you both want to quickly add something.
What, can you repeat that again? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
So is there anything else before we get Rue on here? They're next on there.
No, let's go ahead and get Rue and have him take the stage.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yep, you're all good.
Okay, so my whole thing when I saw Reaper is, along with his insults, he also used a bit of hate speech. The word being the R word, the one for it's usually ableist, and honestly, in my opinion, that kind of language is heavily should not be tolerated. In all companies, just SOD as a whole, that language should just not be there. Another question is like, will there be consequences for Reaper for his actions today for not following protocol, and also his attack on Senior Lancer Caesar?
To my knowledge, I don't think there has been a discussion of that yet, and I think that's why it's very important that we gather in today's meeting to possibly find some type of solution in that way. But as part of high command, I don't think there's any discussion of that yet. But hopefully, this meeting kind of leads towards that. That no matter what rank you hold in the server, that you are also accountable for your actions, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Because even with me, the Sentinel and Paladin, it's we don't know. Given that the Reaper is the Grand Vizier, this would be a council decision, and us three are just within the High Command. I'm sure there'd be some assistance or like some sort of perspective to be put in from us three, as well as the entire company. But it is entirely up to the council, or possibly even just the High Elder, given that it is the rank or the role of the Grand Vizier. But I could be wrong here. I don't know what happens up there, but that's just from me.
One more question I have is, in the past we have had members who throw tantrums, who left and then rejoined, and they had to do training all over again. Is this new rule maintaining rank just for everyone, or is it just for the council advisor role?
Ideally, in my opinion, I think no matter what rank you are, if you do leave the server, you do have to go through the training again, right? I think that's fair
Yeah,
for
I agree.
everyone.
I believe
If
that's how
the
it should
regular
work.
scribes or knights go through it, then we should as well. I mean, I expect you all, if I leave the server, I wouldn't expect to be granted the same rank I hold now and have to go through the same things again. And as well as whoever's next in line should obviously get the rank, not me when I decide to just leave without understanding my actions first. But we're not sure at this moment. I think this is, again, why we're having this meeting so that we can address some of the important things that we aren't sure of.
Yeah, and like, it just also begs the question of like, why would you get your role back if you were to leave like randomly? So yeah, that's kind of all I really had to say for the matter. There may be a bit of additional stuff the more this goes on.
Okay. Thank you very much for talking and speaking your piece and opinion. Very much appreciated. Paragon, who do we have next?
I do believe that would be Lucid.
All right, let's give him a shot.
All
Or if you want, I can do
right.
it too.
I don't know if that's. I think.
Yep.
Yeah. There we go.
Senior Lancer Lucid, you do have the floor. I'm not sure if you can hear us or if you have yourself muted. No, we cannot hear you at the moment.
My apologies if I'm being rude, but we are waiting for Senior Lancer Lucy to solve its issue with the microphone, as it happened before with the Paladin and myself. I believe what happened of the devil, the member who heads back and gets the council advisor rank, is that, as how I see it, that rank is not really a rank or part of the corps, to say it in some way. Because Paladin, as a rank, he's in charge of knights in the company. He has to make sure all of you do a good work. Paragon, it's a rank who is in charge of scribes, and he also needs to make sure you're all doing a good work. Myself, I'm a sentinel, which is between, so I work on the elder, and if either the Paladin or the Paragon are busy, then I need to step in and be helping. What happened with the council advisor, or with the off-topic discussion, is that when he left the server, some issues happened because I don't know what exactly happened. Just some people were complaining, so he came back to solve those issues. But of course, he cannot solve those issues if he is a aspirant, for example. He's not here to play the server as many of us are doing. He's here to give his advice, try to help, and do everything he can to solve the situation, which, in an ironic way, it escalated very quickly. Some other ranks also are able to come back to their full rank, but as the Paladin and the Paragon said before, if you leave the server, you are gonna be expected to start from the beginning, either Night as Brand or Skype as Brand, whatever you choose. This is how I see the server or how the ranks work, but I cannot promise you this is official, as it's said in the codex or in some way. I'm not able to tell you that. I'm really sorry. It's just how I see things.
Thank you for that, Sentinel. Lucid, are you able to talk? You got your situation fixed? Lucid, go ahead and just type whatever you want to mention and I'll speak for you. That way we can at least get some progression with the meeting. I don't want you to not talk, but at the same time, if you're having issues with the mic, I think it'd be helpful to also type it out. All right, Paragon, do we have someone next in line?
I believe, if I scroll up, sorry, it is the Paladin of First Company. But
Great. Let's go ahead and bring them in here. And while we do that, I do want to mention real quick our Paragon Kala from First Company. She asks if Caesar will be allowed to return. I think that is something worth bringing up, specifically with Third Company leadership and if it needs to with High Command, because I don't think that just kicking someone out without due process, that obviously our Paragon Sentinel and many of the other members who've spoken already have said, that it's not fair to just remove someone without going through the proper procedures. But otherwise, I'm going to pass it back to our Paladin Dance.
Yeah. I think one of my biggest issues that I just felt need to be brought up was this isn't the first time he's done this, or like an issue has arisen with a company, because I've noticed before there's been issues in off topic and all that where there's actually been evidence of him or Reaper going essentially after Xbox, blaming the Xbox company, that we are like essentially hating on him and his stuff because of certain games, or game to be specific. And then I guess my other issue would be I guess just a lot of the council advisors kind of just stepping into certain scenarios, or trying to, it's almost like they're more or less kind of adding fire to this whole conflict, when they really should just kind of be there just to advise the council. I've noticed that they've been more active in other aspects and not really good ones, and it's just been kind of causing issues, not just in First Company, but I've noticed in other companies such as this one as well.
Thank you for speaking on the matter, Paladin Dance. Very much appreciated. So apparently it seems as if Third Company is not the only company to have experienced issues like this in the past. As it's been relevant, First Company has also gone through something similar. Senior Lancer Lucid, do you have something typed up so that way we can at least address it for you on the stage before we move on to the next person?
he typed something in the channel for.
All right, great. Thank you. I'll go ahead and read it out. So, our senior Lancer Lucid states that his point is, and I quote again, taking no sides as the Paladin Flare has stated. The conversation or engagement did not become volatile until the Grand Vizier came out the gate insulting the senior Lancer. End quote. So I think everyone is in agreement that regardless of what Caesar said, if it was at least discussed with high command or leadership first, this wouldn't have turned into such a big issue of what it is now. But alternatively, I think it's very important because of this issue that we've had a chance to get together from various companies, not just our company Third, to kind of talk on some of the issues that have remained silent as of recently. Mr. Lucid, do you have anything else you want to add before we pass on to the next person? While we wait for our senior Lancer Lucid to type, Paragon BT, do you mind putting in the next person in line?
Yep, that should be Ixon. Now, Ixon, I did see you re-raise your hand. If any of you are gonna raise your hand, please just keep it that way. I can see who is next in line because if you re-place your hand, if you re-raise it, the order gets messed up and it'll go weird. But right now it should be Ixon. So there we are.
Testing, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, so I do apologize for re-raising my hand. I did disconnect, so I had to rejoin. So I don't have much to say, but more of a series of questions I want to ask and to be answered, if that makes sense.
Yeah, go ahead. And Council Advisor Squid, I'm so sorry. I guess we might have misinterpreted the line, but we'll go ahead and put you next after our proctor.
Yeah. So can we be informed why Caesar was kicked instead of brigged? Or is there not an answer for that one yet?
So the answer to your question, I myself do not know. I definitely think that being brigged was probably the best solution rather than just getting kicked out, so that he would be at least questioned first of why he did those actions and have a fair trial before going to any straight disciplinary actions. But no, neither myself, the Paragon, or the Sentinel know why he was not brigged and just kicked straight out.
Okay. The next question I had was, what do you guys know what the purpose of getting your role straight back would be?
Getting roles back, like if you leave as a proctor and then come back later again as a proctor.
Yeah, what does that tell members that have been here and like that haven't left? If I was just to come back and get proctor again, what is that
The only
purpose?
situation I can see the benefit is that in Exodus, when a lot of members leave, you need people with experience. For example, if you leave, but then the company somehow goes in an Exodus and everyone leaves or something, we are gonna need people with experience, like you. You know how to be a proctor. We would like to have your support. But in general, that will be the only thing I can think of. As many of you say, people put their effort in the server and they stay week after week, patrol after patrol, and in general do their best. But if then someone comes and has their rank back after just leaving, then yeah, it's unfair for everybody. I hope that can answer your question, even a little bit.
So you're saying it's a super rare situation that shouldn't be common, correct?
Yeah, it's a decision between leadership of he should be trained back because we need the help or something, or no, he doesn't. He needs to start from zero. But yeah, it's a very rare situation, and normally everyone starts from zero.
Awesome. Okay, so the actions done by Elder Advisor or Council Advisors today within Third Company chats has reflected extremely poorly upon leadership in total. Is there going to be any repercussions done to the people who have started it and who instigated it?
Like we said earlier, we're not exactly sure, the Paragon, Sentinel, or myself, but I believe Council Advisor Squid, who is up next in line, will probably give some more insight on that.
Wonderful. I have 3 more questions. I do apologize. They were building. So if council advisors are only there to advise, why do they have access to elder chats and not have their own unique channel for advisory purposes only?
To just give you a brief, I hope anyone else can give their opinion, but so far I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they need access to all that kind of stuff. It will be, as you say, it's a good idea what you're saying, just a small little channel. I believe high commands back then believed that it was a good idea, but as everything, it needs testing. If now we see it's not really helping, then it needs to change in the future. But so far, this is how it's been done, and so far it seems it needs some change. Just to give you some kind of answer.
So, like as you had said, if council advisors are only here to advise and not play the server, your words exactly, Sentinel 6, I don't see any purpose for them to have access to all channels, let alone company chats, where they can wreak havoc upon the reputations of council members and simply leadership members of those chats. They also shouldn't have access to the R&R spaces, such as the social channels, because what we've seen council advisors do to other other companies, not only third company. Do you guys see any reason for them to be in those chats if they're not here to play the server?
Paragon, Sentinel, you have anything to add on this one?
Again, just to not leave you alone. What was the question? To what they should have access to channels or R&R?
Yeah, if they're not here to play the server, as you had said, why do they have access to channels specifically for members who play the server, such as Off Topic and the other channels that are within the social category? Like, what is their purpose being in there if they are only here to advise elder councils?
The only thing I can think in the server itself is just to oversee what we are doing. For example, I'm not sure if it works like that, but just to give you an example, console advisor Squid, to say in some way, sees both the Lancer Captain and Proctor from any company fighting. And he goes to inform to some kind of leadership because he knows the context, and there. That will be his role. He will advise, but again, we're not really sure how they work. It's just it will be the only logical reason of why they need access, but yeah. They don't
That
really
sounds
need
like it's quite literally the job of the archivist and the inquisitor, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
So-
basically all high commands are overseen, but it's mainly
Right, but is
Think
there
of
really
it.
a purpose for them to have access to that if we have members who already have roles as security bots? All I see is ways of them stepping over people and interrupting flow within the company. I think that the things that have transpired within the past 12 hours has shone nasty colors upon leadership. And it really needs to be looked at a higher level of what people have access to as an advisory role. Because an advisory role should only really have access if they are called upon to advise and not to interject their opinions when they are not asked for. Am I incorrect?
not really. What you say, it's pretty correct as you say and explain.
Okay. That's the end of my questions. So I will hop off stage now.
Awesome.
Thank you very much
Thank you.
for your time, and I hope that we were able to answer your questions with the knowledge we have.
And as well as I'm sure many of you have the same questions as our Proctor Ixon, so thank you to her for bringing them up. As next we have our Council Advisor Squid to go ahead and possibly, again, give insight to those questions. So we're going to go ahead and invite him onto the stage.
Are you there, Council? Also, to Paladin Christopher in the chat, please, if you're able to, find the message and post it so we all can see it and say this is the original purpose. Feel free to do it, Paladin. Thanks. For everyone in this meeting, the message has been posted to this chat of this radio, so you can read it when you have time and have your conclusions of what's going on today.
All right. Give us a moment. I think our Council Advisor is just having some technical difficulties.
Very much. Hello?
Yeah, hey, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Stage is yours.
So, hi, I'm Squid. I've been here for a couple months now. I'm council advisor. So I'm a little nervous, but yeah. Essentially, given the whole third company thing, I was there when that happened. When that whole argument happened. So I kind of want to give kind of like my neutral opinion on it, or attempt to be as neutral as I can on it. So, essentially, I do want to say that the attitude coming from Caesar, I don't know how to say his name, Caesar or whatever, was kind of aggressive right off the bat, but at the same time, I will admit that Reaper was also pretty aggressive during the fight. Caesar did accuse Reaper of having a speech impediment, which is kind of as bad, in my opinion, as, returning the favor with the use of the R word, as it is making fun of someone for disabilities. But that's just me. I also am told before that Saad is kind of not really known as kind of a safe space, I guess, is what I've been told before. But I'm not sure if that's been changed a lot recently. I know that kind of has been taken on and off of the info page before. So, I'm not really sure what the whole deal is with that, though. But I will say that as a council advisor, I've mainly been added. So I was added originally by a vote from elders, and essentially I was voted on just to be security. Given the extensive Discord knowledge that I have on like their TOS, how Discord itself works, how to spot alt accounts, other stuff like that. So that's essentially what I was brought in for. But I quickly kind of really liked the server and like the community it was given. So, I'm on a phone call. But, not bad. But, yeah, so I kind of started taking part in more of the chats and stuff like that. So, but yeah, as far as the argument goes, I definitely think both sides were in the wrong, especially on Reaper's end, with being a little bit too aggressive. And I think Caesar was also being a bit too aggressive as well. There were definitely some insults thrown. It really shouldn't have escalated that far. It should have just been, I think everyone needs to calm down. But yeah, that's kind of my thing on it. And as far as like council advisor and all that stuff goes, I'm not too sure what the whole thing with council advisor is, as I'm still learning essentially what all the roles are and all that for. So, but yeah, as far as the whole third company argument, I definitely think he should have been proved, at least, or if he was punished for anything in the past or anything like that, he should have at least had a disciplinary report filed, as with everyone that we have punished thus far. They have always had a disciplinary report for it. So that's kind of my stance. So
Awesome. Thank you for your thoughts and insight on this matter.
no problem.
Great. So we hit about the hour mark for this meeting. I don't want everyone to be here all day or all night. I know everyone got sleep, job, or other things to do. So I think we can go ahead and start shifting segments. Now, before I do so, we are going to let the last couple people who raised their hand. We have Dooman, Senior Knight Dooman, Proctor Ixon, and Proctor Goody. For you guys, when you hop on the stage, make it really brief so that we can just kind of, again, switch over to the next segment and start wrapping things up, talking about certain solutions that we can possibly implement moving forward and how we can kind of prevent some of the things that happened today, both in our company and all the other companies. Senior Knight Dooman, you have the floor.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Alright, not me for Night Friend Faye, because my wife and we're sharing the same headset. So this is actually first page, and I will now quiet.
Hi, I just want to thank everyone for letting me speak, being a new member. The first thing I wanted to say was that Reaper left a bad taste in my mouth using, of course, what Rue said, the hate speech, the R word, considering that my son is autistic and I don't like that word being thrown around. Two, as a new member, it just seemed very disrespectful how Reaper acted with like leadership and a leadership role. That's just me. I also think he disrespected everybody when he was saying how people are being whiny about a video game. He kept throwing that when people put time and effort into this game and this world that everyone has created just to like spin on it like it was nothing. But that's just my 2 cents, even though it doesn't probably mean much since I'm a new member. But as a new member, it's made me questionable about leadership. That's just my 2 cents. And thank you for letting me have the floor.
Great. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. We're going to go ahead and pass it over to, once again, Paragon. I'm not sure who raised their hand first. We got both proctors up. So.
I think it was Ixon first and then Goody.
Gotcha.
So I'll do it. Yeah.
Testing.
Yep, we can hear you.
Wonderful. Sorry to raise my hand again, but I just wanted to make a quick statement and then a couple questions. Hate speech and not being a safe space are not the same thing. If someone was to come on here and say the N-word in chat, it would be an insta-ban, and that's been clarified upon all members from day one. And so using the R word may not be the same as the N word in lots of people's eyes. It definitely, as Mrs. Duman has stated, leaves a nasty taste in a lot of members' mouths, and definitely taints the, as I said many times already, taints the imagery of leadership. I also have two more things about council advisors. If a council advisor decides that they like the server and they want to become part of the server, they should lose their rank of council advisor and be put through basic training and start at the bottom like the rest of us, and then aim to become a COS member, which sounds like is kind of the purpose that a lot of council advisors have been having anyways, even though it's a totally different role. And it's also extremely concerning that someone who is given a high council role, such as council advisor, don't know what the role is themselves. That's just a giant red flag that was given to us by Squid. So I would like that clarified on why he has the role if he doesn't know what the role is itself.
Thank you for your points, Proctor. Council Advisor Squid, if you don't mind just tapping or typing, I can't speak, damn it. Long day. If you don't mind typing your answer on the chat so that everyone else can see. Proctor, do you have anything else you want to mention before we pass it over to your other Proctor?
No, I would love for my other Proctor to speak. I will step down.
Perfect. Appreciate you. Proctor Goody, you're up next. We're going to go ahead and invite you over.
All right, hello, testing, 1, 2.
We can hear you.
All right, awesome. For as long as I've been here for a year plus. For as long as I've heard of Reaper, I've known of Reaper. I've never really had a true interaction with them until these past couple of days or until recently. I've always been informed that he is the neutral party and he was doing his best to stay neutral. However, these past couple of days, not only on third parties, not only incidents going on in third party, but the incidents going on in first, and if any incidents in second company, I've seen that he is nothing more than someone who cracks under pressure really easily. I am saying this because I don't know if anyone else here would like to say it, or they are interested in to say it, but I believe that our Grand Advisor should step down and bring the server ownership to someone else. It is clear that he is too hot-headed and reacts almost immediately to things that are directed towards him. I understand. Anyone would. But the fact of the matter is, he was quick to abuse his power that he was given, that he was trusted since day one, since he was given the ownership of the server. No report was made, and a lot of people are wondering themselves that if they speak up to this person, or they speak up against the council as a whole, that if they are next, or whether or not they will be muted or be unable to see anyone here anymore. A lot of people have made a lot of valuable friendships and a lot of experiences, but if they're worried, especially more newer members who are worried about what's going to happen to a lot of people who speak up about high command or even COS, if they themselves are going to get banned or we are going to get removed, then I don't think someone like that should be having that much power. That is all I have to say.
Thank you, Proctor. Appreciate you. And it seems like a few of our other members who are currently here agree with you in the chat. And I think I'm not sure if there's anyone else who raised their hand, but that is definitely a good transition into wrapping up for the next segment of how we should possibly propose any type of solutions with what had happened with the Grand Vizier Reaper. Anyone else would like to speak before we switch over segments? Again,
the elder seems to want to speak.
Gotcha. All right, we'll go ahead and pass it over to him, Elder Demon.
There we go. Sorry about that.
All good.
So as I said, regarding everyone's opinions and concerns today, I will be bringing this up in a large discussion into Elder Chat. Regardless of the stance that everyone has in the Elder Chat, whether they're the High Elder, whether they're the Grand Vizier, I'm going to lay it all bare to them. This is what the server thinks. This is the abuse they feel. This is what our newer members think about the Elders Council. And the fact is that we don't have the respect because we aren't earning it. And we aren't showing the maturity for the responsibilities that we uphold on the server itself. In regards to how we deal with situations and in the matter of following our own rules regarding how we deal with arguments and differences of opinion. I do agree with the retard comment. It's unneeded. It's insensitive. I also have members of my family who have conditions that people might associate that tag with, and I don't put up with it in my real life, so I definitely will not be putting it up with here in the server. But as it is, I'm only an elder. There are still those above me, the High Elder and Reaper himself. I can only speak the voice of the people, but I cannot make or affect the change on the server without the support of the people. But I guarantee you, as an elder, swearing it on my role and position, that I will make sure that your voices are heard to the Elders Council.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Elder. Very much appreciated. I believe we got one more person who is requesting to speak. And I think we'll leave it at one more person before we start wrapping things up. Am I tripping, or was there someone that raised their hand?
I don't. Oh, well, there's
Oh.
Goody again.
Goody, you gotta keep your hand up, my guy. You can't take it down. Alright.
Hello, 1-2. Sorry, I apologize. The previous elder has mentioned everything that I wanted to mention before, but I would like to say this as well. I've noticed during this entire speech, not once has our Grand Vizier showed up. And I understand he's a busy man, that's perfectly fine, but when this meeting was made, he had more than enough time to let you know, Paladin Flare, that he will not be available to make it because of time differences, or he could send someone of high command in his stead. I understand that the council advisor is here to do so if he requested it. However, I believe it should have been someone else who was actually in high command. Otherwise, like I mentioned before, I do strongly believe that he should step down and give server ownership to the next trusted member, someone who will truly remain neutral, and someone who will not react as violently and as aggressive as someone like him has towards our members. That is all.
Awesome. Thank you for more of your thoughts and comments on the matter, Proctor Goody. So, in this last segment, your Paragon and Sentinel of Third Company, including myself, will kind of start wrapping things up so that way this meeting doesn't carry on for too long. It's obvious that one of the two things we need to address and that everyone has agreed upon in addressing this was how the Grand Vizier Reaper should be dealt with in terms of disciplinary actions. Obviously, everyone agrees, again, that no matter what rank you have, if you are doing something wrong or anything remotely wrong, you should face the consequences for it. As well as, regardless of what you did, in this case for what CZ said, you should at least be processed diligently and at least either brigged or given a report, something like that, before just straight out being kicked. So I think moving forward, there should be a type of consensus we can come up. So in the next few days, myself, the Paragon, and the Sentinel, I will work together with them to kind of come up with a Google form and have all of at least Third Company members to express any opinions they may have so that we can kind of put together something that we can propose to Elders Council. And I'm pretty sure Elder Demon will probably do something similar with First Company. So yes, I'm going to pass it back to Paragon BT or Sentinel 6 to speak on anything regarding the matter before we start wrapping it up and closing off.
So far, I have nothing else to say. I have tried to explain my points, what is my experience in the server, to give you the reasons of why some things happen. Of course, times are different, but I guess experience can work somehow. And I'm pretty sure most of the answers we gave you for your questions weren't satisfactory because they didn't really answer something, but we're just as lost as you. We're just trying here to gather everything up, so you can see that we are not here gonna try to dictatorship or some kind of thing to ban all of you. We're just here trying to make everything better and to give you the answers we can, not the absolute ones, but the ones we can give you so you can feel safe in the server.
Awesome. So is there anything else that anyone would like to add before we kind of conclude? I know that there are some things that questions didn't get answered, but we will work on our best to address that in the near future. Paragon, you want to add anything?
The proctor seems to want to speak. Also, the senior scribe.
Yeah. So even though this meeting is about to end, I don't know if we're still gonna go do those 2 hands, but just if you at all want to reach out to just any of us, the Sentinel Paladin, myself, or any of your other higher ups, please do so. Only stupid question is one that isn't asked. Yeah, just even if this meeting ends, that doesn't mean this topic or this event shouldn't just be carried away. So if you still want to add something or learn more of something, then yeah, by all means, just ask.
Did you just steal Doc's quote? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This supposed to be serious. I'm sorry. But yeah, like what your Paragon said, feel free to reach out, and we will be getting together on bringing up some possible solutions. I do see some hands raised. So we're going to invite back our Proctor Ixon and our Senior Scribe Rue in just a second. Otherwise, we are at this moment in time in which we are starting to close up.
I am muted. Testing?
Yes, we can hear you.
Beautiful. All right. First question. Will all of the answers to the questions that were brought up in this meeting be publicly made for all of SOD to see?
Yes.
Yes?
Myself, the Sentinel, and Paragon BT have assigned specific people to take note of what has happened in this meeting, and then we'll go ahead and us three will get together on compiling that information for you all to see what was discussed and what are the solutions that we will be bringing up to Elders Council on how to kind of solve and complete this matter in the bestest way that we can possible.
Okay, second thing. So, since this is a milsim where we role play being part of military people, heavy lean on the role play here, there was a thing that was sent in saying that as Paladin, Paragon, and Sentinel agreed, every activity related to a patrol, training, testing, or similar is to be paused within the company. This as leadership needs to clarify a lot of stuff going on within the company with the recent events in how to put a steady ground and rules to then move forward. As little as that makes sense, are we no longer allowed to run patrols or do trainings or testings or recruiting, it sounds like, within a milsim community now? So are we quite literally closing down Steel of Defiance for Third Company for the time being?
So, to answer your question, no, we are not closing. We just put a brief pause to prevent any type of, I want to say, miscommunication, misinformation, or any type of heated arguments that might happen, as well as we just wanted to make sure that if, like, let's say, for example, patrol happened, that it wouldn't be affected by what had happened recently in today's current matters. So we just paused it briefly so that way anything that people have to say can, reserve it for the meeting specifically, and then afterwards when we open up the suggestion box. But to just kind of help calm things down for a minute. Now, obviously, after this meeting, the Sentinel, myself, and Paragon will get together and we'll continue back the activities because we don't want any of you to miss out on, obviously, number one, having fun with the company, number two, enjoying being a Milsim roleplay server like you explained, as this is the whole objective of why we joined here. But again, to finish off my statement, we paused it just for the first couple of hours just to make sure everything was cooled down.
Okay.
Also
So
to add that, sorry if my message wasn't really clear. And as the Paladin says, yeah, we're just stopping by the moment because we don't really need the Night Aspirant to worry about getting his test done or the Lancer Captain to get Lancer training with a new member. Making sure everyone understands what's happening right now, it was our number one priority. To make sure everyone understands, but no, we're not closing down or anything like that. It's just for the moment we're pausing all that kind of stuff to solve this.
So if it was only for a couple hours, I don't understand the purpose of a giant message being sent out saying that there was no patrols scheduled for the next couple hours. As I got a flood of messages asking what was going on. And I feel extremely bad for all of the people who were very concerned about us, like third company, essentially being frozen and not allowed to move forward in any such manner. There was a lot of concern. There was a lot of miscommunication within what you guys meant to tell us and then what was actually told us to us. And I really hope in the future, if there was to be another announcement like this, if it ever happens, that it's a little bit more clear for the members who are within the group itself.
Definitely. And I want to be the first to apologize for any miscommunications with you specifically or the rest of the members. It wasn't our intention to make any more chaos to what had already happened, but we thought it was best in that specific situation to cool things down, because obviously at certain points during the day it wasn't cooling down as much as we wanted to and it just kept escalating. But we weren't trying to do any type of misleading or cause any other fears with how the company would be ran. We just again wanted to put a quick pause so that everyone would cool down first.
Mm-hmm. Can I request either the Paladin or the Paragon or the Sentinel read Journeyman Knight's Creed's message out loud so it's on record?
Yeah, I got you. I see Sentinel 6 unmuted himself, so before I read it out, Sentinel, you want to add anything?
And just a little bit, yeah, maybe the message confused a lot of people. That's why I put at the end, please message me if you have any questions, doubts. This is not the attempt to attack anyone to say that you should have to send me a message. Just that for me, it was very clear the message. It was just stopping for a while, maybe an hour, maybe some hours, maybe a day or a whole week if the situation was really, really that bad. But yeah, I'm really proud of the members who were concerned went to the proctor. If you follow the chain, to say it some way, that you make sure to ask the questions to solve your doubts for the future. Again, if you have any doubts, make sure to contact leadership. And maybe I didn't really phrase it really well, but please let me know. So if I say something wrong, I can make sure I rewrite it again so I can fully explain myself of what I was trying to say.
Paragon, you want to add anything else before I read off our Journeyman Knight Creed's statement?
6 basically just noted on what I wanted to say.
Gotcha. All right. Appreciate it, Proctor Ixon, for bringing up your concerns and matters. Again, that wasn't our goal to freak everyone out. We just wanted to set a certain time for everyone to cool down before the meeting had happened.
I just look forward to clear communication from our higher ups in the future.
Definitely, and we will definitely do better on doing that. Again, our fault if we didn't do the best that we could have at that time. So we will definitely work on that. All right. Let's go ahead. I'm going to read off Journeyman Knight Creed's message that he put out. Specifically, he states, quote, "On a side note, I feel as if a lot of these questions should already have answers. It's been quite a few hours, and yet we know nothing as a whole about what Caesar's ultimate fate will be, what kind of punishment the Grand Vizier will face for what appears to be an utmost ununanimous agreed upon abuse of power. I don't believe this is really the fault of our hosts, but more so the speed at which these matters are handled and or the general transparency seen from High Command and Elders Council." So, Journeyman Knight Creed, thank you for your statement on that. In my personal opinion, I will try my best to bring back Caesar so that we can at least have a proper due process and trial to see whether or not what he did was actually wrong or right, if any broke any rules. But to have him kicked out without having the opportunity for him to voice his opinion is definitely something that I don't stand by. And so I will, as the Paladin of Third Company, try my very best to bring him back into the server so that he can at least voice anything else that he probably felt was miscommunicated in his messages. In regards to Grand Vizier, since I am not part of Elders Council, nor is the Paragon or Sentinel, I don't really know how to answer that per se, so I'm going to pass it over to our Paragon or Sentinel to see if they have anything they'd like to add.
This from my part, and thank you very much once again for your message. And it's true, the perfect, not to mock you in any way, if in case it feels like that, but in a perfect world, yeah, we will be able to give you the answers we want. We will also be able to solve the issue to have Caesar back, and to have the Grand Vizier Reaper punished by his actions and abuse of power. Sadly, as at least I see it, and we try to work as fast as we can. We had a Paragon who was catching up. We have the Paladin who was working. I have myself. I was busy at the moment. So the moment we solve this, we try to gather up and see, all right, what we can do. Then the thing is that, or at least of how I see it, we cannot do this so soon. Maybe could be the word. Because the Grand Vizier for us, for all the Paladin, for the Sentinel, for the Paragon, I believe also for the Elder, and the Grand Vizier for us is almost like a High Elder. He outrank us. And yeah, even if, or at least how I think, maybe we can do a votation, we can punish him, we can take him out of the server, but if he chooses to retaliate, then we're all screwed. It will be perfect. We just go there and say, all right, get out of the server. But if he wants to retaliate, it's going to be an issue. So that's why we need to think of a better plan, or at least start with the whole, or everyone in the council, or high commands, and to see what we could do. In our best efforts, we're going to try to help you out, to answer your doubts in case the meeting is almost over. But if you have more questions you want to be answered, please tell us, either the Paragon, Paladin, or myself. We have been in our best intentions to help you out and make you feel safe in the server, that you are not going to be kicked for having another opinion or something like that.
Yeah, so in that case, thank you, Sentinel. Let's go ahead and bring our senior scribe Rue back onto the stage since he's had his hand raised for quite a while now.
Testing again. Hello.
Yep,
So,
you're good.
One thing I'd like to bring, and this is sort of maybe not on the same topic, but still on the same part of events, was the announcement that the High Elder brought out of how he was disappointed and embarrassed with us. That caused a lot of anger, per se, especially for people who didn't do anything wrong. Getting that ping and seeing that message, it's demoralizing. So I feel like maybe at that time the High Elder didn't see the full picture yet. All he saw was a fight and everyone going crazy. But I feel like even if it was, that announcement was a bit harsh. with limited or the information he had of the situation. It's something I wanted to bring up about that. Secondly, on terms of this, I'm actually very happy this whole meeting happened, because it shows we're all on the same page about all this, because there's been a huge disconnect between leadership in Third and everyone else. And honestly, having all the other company members here and sharing their experiences with the same sort of situation, it actually puts us all on the same page, and it actually, like, it allows us to move forward even better, because now we know that we're, as said, all on the same page. And so this is a very good move, and I hope next time this happens, other companies jump in and bring in their own 2 cents. That's all I have to say.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Senior Scribe Brew. So, in recap, we're going to go ahead and speak with majority of Third Company leadership, the Sentinel, Paragon, and myself on bringing back Caesar for multiple reasons. One being that he'll have a chance to at least express any miscommunications and kind of specify on anything he'd like to state, and as well as find a way to a solution of fair treatment, right? I'm not sure, again, what we're going to do with our Grand Vizier Reaper. He has yet to speak on the matter, nor ideally for most of the Elders Council, aside from who's present here, such as our Council Advisor Squid and our Elder Demon. And we thank them for attending, but other than those two, we don't really have any other representatives who have the answers that we need. So, thank you all for speaking on the matter. Sentinel 6, Paragon BT, you guys have anything else you'd like to add before we conclude?
So far, I think I have said everything I wanted to say in this meeting. So at least for my part, nothing else.
Awesome. So, last call. Does anyone want to say their piece? Any recommendations and opinions that they want to have regarding the matter? If you don't, or don't think of one now and you think of one later, again, us three will be working on a Google form in which you can type out and submit your suggestions so that all three of us can get together and compile something that all of Third Company can see in what you all have discussed, either in this meeting or when we open up the suggestion box. And honestly, to add one more thing, in my opinion, I think this should be a server-wide thing that all three companies should be opening some type of suggestion box so that all three companies' voices are heard and Elders Council should at least review it, right? Otherwise, I have nothing else to add. Paragon, you got something to say before I start telling everyone thank you and goodbye?
No, everything that I want to say is probably already been addressed. But yeah, otherwise, it's been good having this.
Definitely, I agree. So thank you all for attending today's meeting. I will definitely work with my Paragon and Sentinel and getting together with other companies to do meetings like this. And it shouldn't be a meeting where we only meet on things that happen for bad reasons. We should possibly do more server-wide meetings on occasion, and we'll work together to make that happen so that every company has their opinions stated and everyone is on the same page, at least with rules, right? So, again, thank you all for attending. Thank you all for all your mentions, either in the chat or going on stage. We very much appreciate it. and we will be working on how to alleviate and find a solution for what had happened recently regarding the matter.